Alright guys, you guys can join in on stream whenever y'all ready. Yeah. So, I'll wait real quick. Alright, D-Jack, you're in. Breezy, are you coming in? Oh, Breezy gone. Breezy is gone. Alright, so I'll start it now. Alright, so like I said, movement frees up a lot of characters that feel strict. And a lot of Tekken, especially when you're trying to figure out what to do in neutral, focuses on movement. You see it a lot in competitive play, and you see it a lot in mid-level or intermediate and high-level play. So what a lot of people who are new to movement do, or what they should do, is they should focus on sidestepping and then backdashing, and then making that input fast. I'm streaming, so there's just yeah, join the stream through the party. Yeah, so what you should be focusing on is sidestepping and moving. Hey, what's up, Simply Deep 1985? Oh, by the way, yeah, Simply Deep, you subscribe to the channel. I want to say thank you. I appreciate the support and I appreciate the love. Kyle L, I believe, I cannot remember the last name. I'm really sorry if I fucked this up. You also subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the love and thank you for the support. You guys are awesome as hell. So with the shout outs done, continuing with the movement tutorial, when you're new to movement as a whole, like I said, focus on sidestepping and then canceling your sidestep with a backdash. All right, now if you want to Korean backdash, because that's what the basis of this tutorial is really to cover, make that movement fast. So if you sidestep and then cancel your sidestep with a backdash, right, you'll get this. Now do it faster, starting off with a backdash. So if you backdash, then sidestep, backdash again. Now backdash and then quarter circle back. So the input is back, 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 neutral, quarter circle back, back, back. When you input it like this, I know it sounds weird, but you're about to see it in a second. When you input it like this, what you're going to get is a canceled sidestep into a backdash without a sidestep animation. So this is what it looks like, and you can look at the bottom, and you can look at the inputs at the bottom of the screen to help you. So as you can see, I have back, back, quarter circle back, back, quarter circle back, back, quarter circle back, so on and so forth. And what it does is it creates this fast-paced backdash. Yeah, you do the quarter circle backwards, quarter circle back. And it creates this fast-paced backdash. This is what's known as a Korean backdash. Now, what this is good for is it's good for forcing certain moves that your opponent is throwing out to whiff. For sorry, excuse me. For a lot of characters, for a lot of people who press a lot of buttons, or for a lot of people who think that they can get in on you with a lot of cheap mix-ups. And just in general, a good thing to do in general is if you get hit, try to do a backdash immediately after getting hit. The reason why is because sometimes you can force those moves to whiff. So let's set the AI to do something first. So let's see here. What's a good mix-up that I can do? So as you can see, like what I'm doing is I'm backdashing and then I'm basically forcing him to whiff. And this allows me to see what moves that my opponent is throwing out. So let's say he throws out that initial jab and I backdash. Oh wow, I messed up. He throws out the initial jab, I backdash, I duck, I get a punish. So backdashing is really good for forcing your opponents to whiff and sometimes just allowing you to take that mental break that you need out of pressure to look at what the situation is, what's going on. I know it doesn't look all cut and clear, sorry about that. But yeah, it allows you to just look at what's going on. And this is like probably a very noob like Heihachi setup. Oh, that's not supposed to be natural. So anyway, yeah, so the point is that Korean backdashing helps more than hinders, especially when you're taking a lot of hits. Like something that people do is after a generic down forward 4 or round couching 4 hits them, they'll do a backdash because that means that a mix-up is coming. Generally after a down forward 1, which is what a lot of people like to backdash at. After a down forward 1, a mix-up is coming. You can tell because your opponent is trying to set you up. They're setting you up for a counter hit. So what you do is, why the hell did you do that? What you do is that after down forward 1, you might want to backdash after that just to see what your opponent is going to do. And this gives you some leeway. I'll probably need to do his mix-up faster. I'm not good with Heihachi on the right side. So as you can see, like when I didn't backdash at a certain moment, I didn't see the mix-up. That meant that I pressed a button somewhere. Right? So now if I backdash, Jesus, I suck at these. But now if I backdash, right, I should be able to look at my opponent and say, okay, what is he going to do next? That time I did it properly. And down forward 1s are generally like really hard to sidestep. Heihachi's pushes him forward, so this is why it's really good to practice the backdash tutorial against him. But down forward 1s are really hard to sidestep just because that character is moving forward and tracking you, sort of, even though they're not supposed to track. It's weird. So when you're looking at this, you say, okay, well, what do I do to get out of this situation? Right. So what? He jabbed me even after I ducked? So anyway, yeah. This allows me to like adjust to the mix-up, know what he's gonna do, and then punish him accordingly. Or just take one small step, one break. It's really helpful. One thing that backdashing do though, especially for Mishimas, because Mishimas do feel stiff, is it can help you to free up the movement that Mishima has. And you'll learn that if you can do a Korean backdash, then all you have to do is reverse the input and you'll be able to do a wave dash. Yeah, so the input for Korean backdash is back, back, and then quarter circle back. So back, back, quarter circle back, quarter circle back, quarter circle back. And you just keep on doing it. Now you don't, the only time you need to input a double back input is when you first start your dash. That's it. After that, it's just quarter circle back, quarter circle back. And then when you're trying to wave dash, you want to do forward, quarter circle forward, forward, quarter circle forward. I will never be able to do that combo. Now, a lot of people will wonder, well, Dark, if Korean backdashing help you with your defense, what does wave dashing help you with? Wave dashing helps you with your offense, especially with characters with the wave dash. Like, for instance, when we go through Jin's move list, right? You can see that there's a lot of weird, inputs from mental alertness, which is one of his stances, to him actually having wave dash inputs. Are these the only inputs that he can do out of a wave dash? I wonder. Let's check. Let's look at something like his forward. Yeah. So let's look at his Axial Kick, right? This is it's one of his launchers, right? So can he do this move out of a wave dash? Let's see. Yes, he can. Why can't he do this move out of a wave dash? It's because one thing that Tekken does, which is like an easy cheat system, is, and this is what happens on stick as well as pad. So this is really good for stick players to learn from as well as pad. What they do is they input save. Input saving is when you've inputted somewhere in the middle of your in the middle of your wave dash, a forward input. So the game has saved an extra forward input for you. So now when I do a wave dash, since I already have that forward input saved on the next wave dash, all I have to do is tap forward and another input to get something to come out. So there you go. This is forward too. So by wave dashing, forward 2. Wave dashing, forward 3. And I still get the double forward inputs. Wave dashing, forward 4. And the original input is forward 4. Is that all I can do out of a wave dash? No. I can also do can kicks. I can do the electric. I can do the other electric. I can cancel into mental alertness. I can cancel into his other stance. You can do a lot with the Mishima or Jin out of a wave dash. Wave dashing helps a lot of characters get out almost most, if not all, of their moves in their move list out of a wave dash. How come all characters can't wave dash or Korean backdash? For a character to wave dash, a character has to have a wave dash input somewhere in their move list. That lets you know that they have a quarter circle input that comes from them tapping forward and then ducking forward. So for instance, this right here, this input right here, the wind hook fist, is a wave dash input. Forward, neutral, down, down, forward. It's a wave dash input. This means that this character can wave dash because of that input. So that's why not all characters can wave dash. Can all characters in Tekken Korean backdash? Yes. Every character in Tekken can Korean backdash, but not every character in Tekken can wave dash. There's a huge difference. Right, so for example, A character that can't wave dash in Tekken is Kazumi and Lucky Chloe. These characters can't wave dash. They can't wave dash whatsoever. Eliza can't wave dash. Noctis, he can't wave dash. None of the 2D characters can wave dash. Law, he can't wave dash. Neither can Dragunov. I don't know if Yoshimitsu can wave dash. Huh, now I'm interested. I want to see. But, yeah, Asuka can't wave dash. Yeah, she could wave dash. It'd be stupid. She'd be dumb. There's some characters they just don't need a wave dash. Just no. Oh, well, look at that. His rage drive is a wave dash input. So maybe he can wave dash. Nope, he can't wave dash. Okay, so it's just his rage drive then. So yeah. So Yoshimitsu can't wave dash, unfortunately. But he can Korean backdash. Like I said, every character can Korean backdash. So what does wave dashing do for a character that can wave dash? I'm pretty sure that's a question that's also that a lot of people are wondering. Wave dashing is not only a form of movement for that character, it's also a mind game. By wave dashing in your opponent's face, or just wave dashing up to your opponent, it puts a fear tactic into your opponent. It's just a mind game. Now, at higher level, when you're not afraid of anything and you really don't care, wave dashing is just a form of movement. But in general, wave dashing serves a lot of purposes. It can serve as a form of movement to move your character faster to cover more space. It can serve as a option to get out a lot of moves in your move list and to quickly rush down your opponent. It can serve as a tool to scare your opponent if your opponent is the type of person that is scared of movement because they themselves are limited or strict in the movement aspect of Tekken. Because I can tell you that from a lot of I've played a lot of people in Tekken, and there's been people I've played that are really good, but their movement is super stiff, and because they're so locked up in movement, they're afraid of seeing how well their opponent can move. So it's really good to scare your opponents. But it also serves as a way of closing distance. So let's say Heihachi did a move. Let's say he did something like this. Alright, so as you can see, now there's a lot of distance between me and my opponent. So what I can do now is I can wave dash forward, and then I can cancel my wave dash to see if my opponent is going to press a button. Or what I can do is, after I get up, since my opponent has knocked me so far back, he can either wave dash to me, or he can come after me and do a mix-up, or I can come after him and do a mix-up. So wave dashing has a lot of fundamental tools. The first element being that you need to know how to move. Knowing how to move and free yourself up in Tekken is extremely important. I cannot stress this enough. Even if you don't know how to wave dash, and even if you don't main a character that wave dashes, knowing how to simply Korean backdash, or how to sidestep, or how to just backdash in general, or duck even, it can do a lot in terms of your gameplay. It makes your gameplay more interactive. It makes punishment easier. It helps with punishment because you have that movement. I don't know. Can I sidestep this? I don't think I can sidestep that. I think this, yeah, he has a tracking armor move. What's your question, Jermaine? How do you not be afraid of a wave dash? First off, you have to know that this is an access of movement that your opponent has that you probably don't because of the character that you play. That's the first thing that you need to separate the wave dash in your head from, is that this is just a form of movement that your opponent's character has that they have access to. That's the first thing. The second thing to not be scared of a wave dash is to know your opponent's character, what that character can do out of a wave dash. And then knowing that you're not going to get necessarily hit by everything. What scares people about a wave dash is the movement itself, nothing else. It's a mind game. So take away the fact that it's just a form of movement. Take away the fact that it just gets them closer to you, and take away the fact that it helps them get out other moves or moves in their move list. Take all of that away. Focus solely on what your opponent is going to do rather than what the wave dash is doing. Because if you're so focused on the wave dash that you're not focusing on what your opponent is going to do after the wave dash or what your opponent did before the wave dash, you're more likely to get hit or caught by a mix-up because you were so scared focusing on the wave dash itself. So, yeah. Is there a good way to counter somebody that's wave dashing? A person who knows how to wave dash really well? No. Because wave dashing is just a form of movement. It's not something that you can punish. Especially since, like, let's say I'm wave dashing in Heihachi's face. I can easily cancel my wave dash back to blocking. And if you do something like this Heihachi is doing, where I have you set to like do an electric, let's say I wave dash and you do an electric, I can easily just duck. Now you got punished and you got caught by a mix-up, all because you were so scared of the wave dash you threw out a panic move where you just decided to panic. What you can't do against a wave dashing character is panic. That's what a lot of characters with a wave dash or some type of sway forward, that's what a lot of characters want you to do. Because it makes it easier for them to get their mix-ups in. You don't want to show that you're scared. You want to show that you have knowledge of their character just as much as they have over yours. And I can promise you, most of the time, especially at the lower ranks, people are as scared of your character as you are of theirs. So just like you would be scared of my movement and wave dashing, another player would be just as scared of your character and the fact that your character has easy pressure or something like that. You know what I mean? Now, when you get to higher level, you shouldn't really be scared at all. Like, there's no reason for you to be scared. At that point. But you shouldn't be focusing on trying to shut down the wave dash. You should be focusing on what's going to happen out of it. So let's put Heihachi in a wave dash situation, right? We're going to have Heihachi wave dash in my face and do an electric. So he's wave dashing and I'm just going to back dash a little bit. I got the feeling that he's going to do something. There you go. You know, I'm focusing on what he's going to do out of the wave dash rather than focusing on what is the wave dash itself. Because I know he's moving, because moving doesn't mean anything. Moving really doesn't mean anything. Think about it this way. Like, how would you feel if your girlfriend or something was just moving up to you in your face? Are you going to be scared that your girlfriend is walking up to you in your face? No. Are you going to be scared if she's angry? Probably. Are you going to be scared if she's just walking up to you to touch you? No. And that's how you should look at this situation when you're playing Tekken. You should not be scared just because somebody's moving in your face. You should more or less be focusing on what they're going to do and how to counter what's going to come out of it. Don't focus on countering it. Focus on countering what's going to come out of it. Yeah. And that's basically just your easy movement tutorial. So to give you a little recap, Korean backdashing is back, back, quarter circle back, quarter circle back. Okay? To do a wave dash with a character who has a wave dash, you reverse that input, and instead of an extra forward, you just tap forward, quarter circle forward, forward, quarter circle forward. Both inputs for backdashing and wave dashing have to be really fast. And there you go. And this just opens up your game plan even more. That's all it does. It opens up your gameplay a little bit more. That's all it does. Oh, that was a delayed sidestep. Yeah, I'm gonna just stick to ducking. Yeah. Yeah, because like, I don't know, there are some people when I see them move, they'll just do this, hold back to block, and it's just like, you realize you don't have to do that, right? Plus, holding back just means that you're walking back, so your movement is still slow, you're still moving very stiffly, and you're more likely to get caught by a low or to accidentally duck just because you're holding back so much anyway. And why make that so hard on yourself when you can just do a simple 1 or 2 Korean backdashes? You don't have to Korean backdash all the way to full screen, but in situations where you're being pressured, just 1 or 2 simple Korean backdashes can help force your opponent to whiff. So knowing how to Korean backdash is really good for those situations. It helps a lot. Besides getting pressured, it's when you're in, so besides getting pressured, a good time to backdash is just when you're in neutral. So like this is generally round starting position, most stages, every character. So this is a good time to now backdash. A lot of people at the beginning of the round, you won't believe how many people at the beginning of a round or at the beginning of a match press a button. You won't believe how many people press a button the minute the match starts or the minute the round starts because they want to hurry up and get their pressure started. So just by simply backdashing, you can see what your opponent is going to do, and then you can react accordingly. And then depending on what your reaction is can determine how the pace of the game goes. So if your opponent starts off the game and they do a low or they do a high, you can say, okay, well, I'm going to backdash, I'm going to duck, I'm going to punish. Now my opponent's backed off. I should be able to do what I want. I should be able to either pressure my opponent or do something about my opponent. I know when I see opponents that are pressing a lot of buttons at the beginning of a round, especially if I'm playing as wiring, if I see an opponent that presses a lot of buttons at the beginning of the round, the minute the round starts, they don't try to move back or think about what they're going to do. They just hurry up and try to immediately jump to something. I generally do 2 backdashes, switch stance, and wait to see if they're going to keep on whiffing. If they whiff, I generally do this to power through whatever highs and mids they're going to do, which I'm not that dependent on backlash anymore. But if I generally just backdash and then back 3. That's what I do. I do like 1 or 2 Korean backdashes, and then I'll back 3 because I know they're going to whiff because I'm backdashing because they're just focused on pressing buttons. You know, this is there's a lot of good ways to counter opponents that's pressing buttons. First off, starting with the fact that you do have moves that counter hit. And then starting off with the fact that you also have a backdash to force them to whiff for a full launch punish. So, and if you've watched any of like my wiring rank, like if you watched my wiring video where I did from Vanquisher to Genbu, at like close in the middle of the video, I noticed that this paw player that I was playing against was going to do either his forward where he tumbles forward, or he would try to do a death fist. So I immediately backdashed and just frame skyrocketed him. That's in the video. And that's just to show how good backdashing can be when you know how well to use it and where to do it. So yeah. And this is stuff that you guys see commonly every day. Like if you watch high level play or competitive play, you see players Korean backdashing, wave dashing, sidestepping, and stuff like that, bring up their movement. You just don't understand. You just wonder like, how are they doing it like that? Like how are they moving that well? And you just chalk it up to, well, they just have that experience, I guess. And I know one form of movement that I do with wiring, which kind of scares a lot of people, is this. Flamingo canceling. Everybody hates it. You thought people were scared of a wave dash? People get scared of this all the time. And they immediately press a button. When they press a button after this, I generally just finish the string that I'm canceling. No, it's not a glitch. You see, before season, okay, so like season 2, wiring, they changed wiring's down forward 3-4 into an armor move. But before that, it used to be just a regular down forward 3-4. It wasn't an armor move in season 1. And he could always cancel it by holding forward after he does down forward 3. But nobody really like paid attention to that. So it's like now that they made it an armor move, you just see a bunch of white flaring up because he keeps canceling it. And because it's an armor move startup now. So that's it. But this is really good. It's really good because I can like sometimes when people are jabbing a lot or dick jabbing, I generally armor through it with the cancel and then I go straight into a mix up. And plus, it's really good, like, just doing this cancel is, like, really good for a lot of my combos, too. Because if you ever notice in a lot of my combos, you have to learn how to Flamingo Step. That's what us wiring players call it, the Flamingo Step. Because if you don't know how to do the cancel forward, you're not going to really get much. No. Flamingo Step is when you cancel his down forward 3 into Flamingo. So like for instance, in a Flamingo Step situation would be when you do his up back 3-3, Flamingo Step forward, continue the combo. As to where like if I did that, I would have to like hold forward, and then this would probably be the only thing I could really do. But Flamingo Step just makes it faster. Fancy stuff. But yeah, that's just, you know, and there's a lot of characters who have their own who have like this own weird movement about them depending on like who you're playing. Like Brian, if you ever, and this is for everyone watching the stream, if you ever plan to play Brian, you might want to practice on Korean backdashing first, because it's hard to do that with his sway. He has a sway, and it gets in the way sometimes. This is the main reason why he gets hit a lot. You'll notice it, even some of the best Brian players in the world will accidentally sway while Korean backdashing, and then they'll just get hit. It is the most irritating thing. Like, you just have to know how to make your input so strict that the game reads you're trying to do a Korean backdash and not a quarter circle back input, which is really hard because the Korean backdash is essentially a quarter circle back input. Right, weird. It's extremely weird. I'll show you. So this is Brian's sway. Right? So when I'm doing a Korean backdash, sometimes he'll sway in the middle of the backdash. So what I have to do is I have to make this input twice as fast than I would regularly do it. That way he does what I want him to do. So instead of doing quarter circle back, I have to do down back and then back. Right. So, like, he can still Korean backdash. It's just now you have to make the input so strict that it doesn't read that he's swaying because he has a sway. It's not a backdash, it's a sway. And there's a difference because sways gives that character access to moves. Right, so what you have to do is you have to make that input so strict that it doesn't read that you're doing this way, it reads that you're doing the backdash. And I can tell you right now, even though I've been playing Brian for a while, or I have played Brian at one point for a long time, I can't do a Korean backdash full screen. I will eventually sway because it's that hard. I have to think when I do it, and that's what I don't like. I have to think about how strict I'm making the input to do it. Eventually, I'll get used to doing it. A good time to sidestep your opponent is when your opponent is doing something that is either super linear, super plus on block, and lacks tracking. Generally, non-tracking moves is where you want to sidestep your opponent. So, for instance, let's see, what can I do with Kazu? So, this is one of those strings where, like, you can sidestep him. Can. You just have to time it. Sidestepping is just difficult in general. You just have to learn where to sidestep. Down forward 1 forward. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. Mishimas are universal sidestep left. Oh, there we go. Yeah, every character has a certain direction that you have to sidestep them in. Some characters you have to sidewalk moves, other characters you have to sidestep. There's a difference. Ah, fuck that up. Wow, I can't believe it does that. It's this weird thing with Brian. Oh, you see, it's plus on block, but it doesn't track. Yeah, there's a huge difference. Okay, so something that is plus on block doesn't always necessarily means that it's going to track you. If you want to know, like a move that tracks is a move that has white sparks following behind it. So, for instance, Brian Snake Edge, you see tiny white sparks. I might have to do it from far away. So you see these tiny white sparks around his Snake Edge. Right. His forward. Yeah, his forward 4 is the same thing. You see tiny white sparks. This means that the move tracks. But most moves that track, there's a way around them for some characters with a lot of moves that track, there's a way around them. Like for instance, Brian's Snake Edge tracks, but it's a low. Brian's forward 4 Mach Kick tracks, but it's a high. So yeah. Yeah. This is what happens when when you're practicing and you're doing this stuff. It's like you get caught up in practice. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. Brian is just a weird character. I keep on trying to do this, but that won't come out. Getting used to movement is just hard. Like, you know, sometimes I'll try to do a sidestep cancel. You know, sidestep cancel is like when you it's like when you do down, back, or up, forward multiple times really fast to make yourself look like you're stutter stepping to the side, or stutter sidestepping. Like, it's really hard. A lot of players do this just to see, like, is he going to throw out something that tracks? That way they can finish the sidestep, and if they don't, it's weird. But it looks like I'm trying to teabag, and I'm not. Like, a lot of people, like, I have to message people and tell them, like, I wasn't trying to teabag you. I'm literally just trying to sidestep. Oh, I wasn't trying to do that. Give me my combo. What? It takes a lot of practice and time to get it. Isn't it? Yeah, getting taunt jet upper is weird. I don't even know why I'm trying to do this. Alright, anyway, the whole I don't even know why. I'm sorry guys that I got sidetracked in the whole doing combos and stuff, okay? You fall into a vortex when you go into practice. Leave me alone. The point is that this was a movement-based tutorial, so I hope that a lot of people who watch this in the future can benefit from it, because movement is a really important thing in Tekken. It really is. And as fun as Tekken is, for a lot of people who love to learn, who like to know a lot of technical stuff, this is something that would be really interesting to a person that's new to Tekken and trying to get into it. So I hope a lot of people benefit from this video. If you have any questions, make sure you comment below this video. And if you like this video, leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you later.